Welcome to episode number 224 of our Unix Level Mastermind. And our topic for today is something a bit different, right? Interesting stories about previous bosses. And I'm not going to put any limit on how you do this in any way, shape, or form, but I wanted to hear a bit about your background. And so people who are watching the replay can respect who you are a little bit more from the experiences you've had in life. So before we do that, let me just say that to these people who are watching the replay, please reach out, connect with these people. Talk to Rhonda. Lovely to see Rhonda here for the very first time. Very excited to see you. Brian, George, Tony B, Tina, Kristine, Alan, Dr. Chris, Mark from New Zealand, Vangelis and Daniel. Those people who are watching the replay, if there's any others joining, make sure you reach out to these people in particular. They know people that you don't know. They have opportunities and contacts that you don't know. But more importantly, they're giving up their valuable time to share their expertise and their experience with you. The least you can do is simply book a call with them and say, thank you very much, Brian, for sharing your thoughts. Okay, that's all I'm asking you to do. It's pretty simple. So with that in mind, let's get them to introduce themselves. And I'm going to start with you, George. Okay, you first cab off the rank, followed by Kristine.
Okay, sure. Sounds great. Hello, everyone. My name is George Naugle, and I've been helping small business owners work 40% less and earning 25% more profit in 90 days. So if your bank account doesn't reflect your effort, it's maybe give me a call and I may have some insights to help you figure out what's going on.
Thank you, George. Thank you very much. Kristine Best.
Thank you very much.
Followed by Alan Edwards.
Thank you, Peter. It's great to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristine Best. I am a wellness strategist. I empower leaders, entrepreneurs, and if they have teams, I empower them as well. And I do that so that they may have wellness in totality. And I do that through my Liberate system, a blueprint to wellness, which involves seminars, presentations, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, and consulting on posture and ergonomics and wellness, mental health, as well as physical health. So if you or your people are not well 100%, if you're not thinking clearly, if you don't have the concentration you need, or if you're stressed, you're not going to operate at your best. I have some solutions to that. I can help you with some strategies and some tools and some knowledge, and I can help you get rid of some bad habits and behaviors that everybody has some or at least one bad habit. And those bad habits and behaviors lead to chronic diseases. And the statistics say that out of 25 people, 17 or 18 of them are highly likely to develop and die from chronic disease. So if you have people around you that you care about and that are valuable in your business and that you care about you and your family, you need to learn what I want to share with you. That will help you with, if you've got a problem with absenteeism or presenteeism or whatever it happens to be, you can take all the values home to your family, and then they can share that with their friends. And so that way it helps your household, and you bring that back into your workplace, and that shines through your work and out to your customers.
Thank you, Kristine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And yes, I've got more than my fair share of bad habits. There's no doubt about that. Alan Edwards, followed by Elena.
Hi, Peter. Hi, everybody. I'm Alan Edwards. I'm a property investor and developer based in Hampshire in the UK, and we solve property problems. So if you know people who've got retail premises that are empty following COVID or empty offices, we can help the owners of those properties to solve their problem, relieve the pain of having empty property with costs outgoing, and we transform such properties into high quality residential, possibly for supported living, sometimes for affordable housing. Essentially, we're trying to solve the UK's chronic housing crisis, and in doing so, we help property investors get great returns. I'll put my details in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. Very much indeed. Elena, followed by Rhonda. Welcome to your first session. But Elena first.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you. I'm Elena Apalkova, founder and CEO of Mindset to Results. Mindset to Results is the company with a very big vision and mission. We help business owners and entrepreneurs to connect to their true self, to understand their huge potential, replace the limiting beliefs, replace blocks, saboteurs, different programs which unconsciously keeping them stuck at the same level year after year, so they can discover how they can grow and succeed with ease and using their very powerful mind and high mental faculties. Also, I'm founder of Circle of Fame, and the Circle of Fame mission is to help driven business owners and entrepreneurs to achieve their goals through connecting with other experts, to be seen, to heard, to be promoted, so more people can learn about them and, of course, connect and work with them as mentors and coaches. And we also launch the Circle of Fame events, and our first public speaking event in person will be on 9 and 10 August in Portsmouth, UK, where we invite speakers, entrepreneurs to participate and share their knowledge with audience. Thank you.
Elena. Please make sure you put the contact details regarding the Circle of Fame into the chat, okay? I highly recommend people checking it out. Rhonda, over to you, followed by George, who has to go pretty quickly. So Rhonda, over to you first.
Good morning, everybody. And Brian, thank you for inviting me. And Kristine, I have more than one bad habit. And have any of you heard of Brian Stevenson, the attorney? Brian Stevenson had the longest standing ovation in TED Talk history. And he did that by spending 13 of his 18 minutes telling stories. And stories are what connect people. Stories are what move people. And that's where I come in. I'm Rhonda Freed. Excuse me. This is not my time of day, so please forgive me. I'm still sleeping. I am the CEO of Speakeasy Public Speaking and Storytelling Coaching. And what I do, especially for nonprofits who are not getting the donors that they want or the media coverage they want or whatever goals they have, I help them craft and deliver speeches that go from boring to brilliant, that are so compelling and so inspiring that they motivate any audience that they speak to whatever action they want them to take, which is usually funding, so that they can continue their mission that transform the world in some way. You know, and God knows we need that more than ever right now. So that's who I am.
We sure do, Rhonda. We live in a skeptical, uncertain, distrusting world. So if we can communicate properly with people like your help, it'd be fantastic. Well done and welcome to our session.
Thank you, Peter.
We're breaking ground a bit here. George, I know you have to go, is that right?
Yes.
Do you want to share I'm going out completely out of sync here, so please bear with me, everybody. Do you want to share your thoughts about an interesting story you had with your previous boss before you go, then we'll come back to the others.
I can. It was a long time ago, so I'm not exactly sure what was it? Because it was 85, I think, was my last boss. So what kind of a story were you looking for this episode?
Interesting, the word is. It's your call.
Interesting.
If not, sure, don't worry. I'll come back to you if you like, if you can hang.
Sure. Well, you know what? Just let's not get out of sync. If you miss me, you miss me this time. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, we'll do. We'll do. All right.
All right.
Tina Huggins, nice to see you as always, followed by Vangelis.
So I work with people that are in very difficult abusive relationships, marriages, or going through a very difficult journey through their divorce process. I help them with their communication skills. I help them to understand the divorce process, communicate not just with their soon-to-be ex, but with their attorney. By doing that, I also help the attorney. This helps the attorney be able to be the rock star that you hired them to be. This then, with all of that, reduces your stress, reduces your emotion. By reducing your emotion and your stress, we reduce the amount of time that you're spending in your divorce process. This reduces the cost of your divorce immensely. I am Tina Huggins. I'm your divorce coach specialist, a divorce planning specialist, restorative family mediator, and conflictual co-parenting coach. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. And she's also one that runs some brilliant podcasts. Vangelis, over to you, followed by Tony. I'm not hearing you. Speak to me.
Is that better?
Yes, very serious look on your face, but yes, it's better.
Okay, one more time. My name is Vangelis, and I work with companies who want to improve their key performance indicators. A lot of times companies, they hire a consultant to come in to help them with their operations or any type of training and so forth. But one of the things that I do that's a little bit different is I also include the human element. A lot of times the solution is not a business tool, like more training, technical training, or more operational changes. Sometimes it's to go deeper into the psychological barriers that hindrance people from actually doing a more productive, efficient way of doing their work. So I've worked with companies who want to see the big picture and who want to help improve everything, not just their business tools, but also their people. Thank you.
Thank you, Vangelis. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome, Glenda. What a lovely surprise. I'll get back to you later. Wow, so good to see you. Tony B, over to you, followed by Daniel.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tony B, the Buonaiuto movement. I've added that this is a safe space. We help people who've been strong for everyone else. And what I mean by that is the people I work with usually have problems or been stuck, exhausted, or spiritually empty. I help them break free because they're busy helping everybody else and they never look at themselves. And one of my newest understandings is you can't love somebody till you really love yourself first. So I help them break free from like the inner pain, the patterns, past wounds, you know, how they self-sabotage their lives and their relationships. And I'm an expert at it and I'm qualified to guide them because I've lived it, you know, my addictions, burning out, running from myself. And that's going to tie into today's boss thing a little bit because I never had a boss, and now I guide others, right? It's a proven process. They heal from the inside out so they can live free outside, you know, so we work on the inside in order to help people live free on the outside. Tony Buonaiuto, the Buonaiuto movement. Links in the description chat soon. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony, very much indeed. Daniel, followed by Mark, who's joined us very kindly from the middle of the night in New Zealand. Daniel, over to you first.
Yeah, hello everyone. First of all, it's always such a pleasure to be with all of you with these wonderful communities and, to share. This is great opportunity. So I'm Daniel Kobryner. I'm French, living in the UK. I'm a mental fitness coach, an international speaker, and the host of a podcast called Redesign Your Life Today. After a fulfilling 35 career in international business and management, I found myself at a point where success no longer matched what I felt inside. In that moment, I felt a deep need for diving into personal development and discovering my true purpose, which was really helping others reconnect with their inner strengths and the truth. Today, I'm working with spiritual entrepreneurs and small business owners who feel stuck, lost, or disconnected with their direction. And I support them in building unshakable inner foundations. I help them overcome the invisible saboteurs that drain their energy, confidence, and potential so that they can move forward with calm, focus, and purpose. My main offer today is a transformational 7-week mental fitness program, which is based on the positive intelligence methodology. It combines neuroscience, coaching, and daily practice to rewire the brain and strengthen the mental fitness that leads to lasting emotional freedom, better relationship, and aligned decision making. Above all, what's my superpower? My superpower is really to provide a very safe space for everyone to be able to express themselves vulnerably without fears of being judged, criticized, or given unsolicited advice.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much, Daniel. Could you please make sure you also put, excuse me, the contact details for your 7-week program in the chat? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, first of all, I want to give you a shout out before you say anything. I want to say thank you for the incredible support that you give people. You are an incredible man. I mean, I don't know how many hours a day you spend online, but every time I do something, you're always there to support me and support so many other people. So thank you, Mark. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate that. So over to you, followed by Glenda.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I guess that's just because the Strangers communities are there to support others, and Strangers community is my non-profit. And it's your generational administration support team, and we're here to help you to grow your business, help people to become entrepreneurs, doing whatever they want to be doing. So we have our e-commerce store as well, where you can sell your products and services, sell ours, earn commission, grow yourself a generational business. And you can do it all with our support. We'll help you to grow your YouTube channels, do anything for you, help you with your video editing, SEO work, whatever you need help with. Creating online courses, ebooks, turning them into multiple languages for you, having them sold in 200 countries. So there's plenty of things that we can help you with. So yeah, just reach out for a chat if you want. And that's me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much indeed. Glenda, followed by Dr. Chris.
First of all, hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here finally and see everybody. It's such a pleasure seeing these warm, wonderful faces here. So I am truly honored to be amongst you all. Hi, I'm Glenda Kroll. I'm coming into you today from Toronto, Canada, and I am a dedicated life empowerment specialist and reinvention. I help women transition from struggle of breakdown in their lives to the brilliance of their potential with 3-step position of my methodology: recognize, reinvent, and rise. My passion is helping individuals discover their true potentials and to guide them through the transformational journey that lead them to more fulfilling lives. With a deep understanding of personal growth, resilience, and reinvention, I empower my clients to break from that limitation, and they embrace the change and activate their goals. Whether you're seeking a navigation in a career change, improve your relationship, or enhance your overall well-being, I'm here to provide you with the tools and support that is needed to create that positive, lasting change in your life. So if any of this resonates with you, drop a line to me. I will be putting in my booking code, and please reach out to me and let's talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenda, and lovely to see you again. Very much. I love the bit you said about activating their goals, because you can do a lot of things, but unless you activate it, nothing darn happens. And when you're talking to people like Glenda, I can assure you things are going to happen. There is no doubt about that. She is one heck of a lady. Dr. Chris, over to you, followed by Brian.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Chris Willems from Arts Media Consultants. I help business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs who loathe presenting get to love it and not feel like they come across as complete dicks on video and Zoom. Why? Because 85% of all online communication these days is via video, and my aim is to get 50 executives in 50 weeks comfortable, confident, and credible on camera.
Thank you very much, Chris. I love the way you keep things so nice and brief and to the point. Well done indeed.
Thank you.
Brian K McNeill. First of all, a shout out to you for inviting Rhonda. Thank you very much indeed. Now over to you, because I'm busting to know what your title is this week, because it seems to change every week. You keep me in suspenders.
Well, first off, good morning to all of you amazing, talented minds, my friends. I look forward to it. I'm super excited to share my friend Rhonda Freed with you. My name is Brian K McNeill, and I love that Peter considers my titles a moving target. But I am a sales confidence coach. I'm also a sales skills improvement evangelist, and I'm the world's recognized authority on selling services. There are so many amazing people that offer things that genuinely do help other people. But a lot of these people that offer services that help, a lot of them do not earn the money that they could or that they should. And very often the reason why they do not earn that money is they simply do not know how to sell it well, or they're using antiquated methods of selling that no longer work. And I teach them what to say and what to do so they can sell themselves, which they often forget, and their services better than they ever had before so they can earn more money. And I do it through my coaching, through my workshops, through my talks on my platform, or through my books. Yesterday, I'm super excited because yesterday I got a chance to hold in my hand for the very first time my 8th book, Selling Financial Services is Different. That's my 8th book, and I got it in the mail yesterday for the first time I got a chance to hold it in my hands. So I'm super excited about that as well. I'm looking forward to telling the story about my relationship with a former boss. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And give it to me one more time. Money. Come on, give it to me.
The money.
The money. Thank you. We've got apologies, everybody. We've got apologies from Dr. Annika Sorensen, who can't make it. We've got one from Gabby Ito, who actually run out of gas, and she wanted to make it, but she couldn't. And finally, from one of our staunchest supporters and someone who supported me so often, John D. Allen. He normally is here, and in fact, he's hosted some of these sessions when I haven't been well enough to do it. But John's having problems with power and electricity and generators, and goodness knows what up there where he is in Canada. So wish him all the best. And I hope you get better soon, John, in terms of your electricity circuit and things like that. Okay, here's our topic. Interesting stories about previous bosses. Now, what I'm going to do is take you in the way. Goodness gracious, you're quick, Alan. I'm going to take you in the order that you raised your hands, okay? And I look forward to hearing your thoughts and your expertise and your experiences. Alan, over to you. Interesting stories about previous bosses that you've had.
Thank you, Peter. I'd like to tell everyone about a guy who I worked for from about 2003. I didn't know him before then. And he was a director at Arup, which is a famous engineering company that I worked for. And I went to join him on some sort of complicated projects in London. And I got to know him over a few years, and he was a very unassuming person. He would never ever raise his voice. He was very intelligent, and he would always assimilate a lot of information before giving whatever his thoughts were about what the team should do. And he was headhunted from Arup, and he went to work on the Olympics for 2012 in the UK, which was a massive project involving a lot of regeneration of old sites, some of which were derelict sites, and then extension of various transport schemes, some of which I got involved in as well. And as a result of Simon Wright's success at the 2012 Olympics, because he delivered everything on time and within budget, he was awarded an Order of the British Empire, OBE. So he's now Simon Wright OBE. And I followed his career because subsequently he was headhunted to manage a massively complicated engineering project known as Crossrail, or the Queen Elizabeth line in London. And this was notorious for delays and running over budget. And I thought, well, you know, if there was one person that I knew who can actually handle that project, it would be Simon Wright. I mean, it was almost as though this guy walked on water. He was professed to be able to sell refrigerators to Eskimos, although you wouldn't think of him as a salesperson at all. He was a master of influence of people. And I was surprised that a couple of years after he joined that project, which was first started in the 1990s, and I first worked on the project when it had a budget of about $3 billion, let's say. And here it was around about 2020 with a budget of $15 billion, and still it hadn't been completed, and still it hadn't been commissioned. So Simon Wright did his best, but he was actually unable to complete this tremendously complicated project. So I suppose my interesting story is that you know, here was a guy, highly capable person, you know, very well recognized in the industry, but sometimes there are problems that you just can't solve. And I'll just explain a little bit about the reason why he couldn't solve them. It is because it involved interfaces with lots of different railway lines and tremendous complexities about signaling, as well as the civil and structural engineering. So it's really a massively complicated project. It's running full-size railway lines under London from east to west. So if you can imagine all this very high value property in the centre of London, and there are these guys borrowing tunnels under the buildings, you know, and high risk of you know, different engineering problems. You don't want to collapse a building that's worth millions and millions of pounds. So you know, he did his best, but he wasn't able to solve this problem. So I suppose that I still have a lot of admiration for him, because I saw him interviewed on the television, and people were asking him, well, why did he lose his job? Why couldn't he solve these problems? But he was full of integrity, and he would not blame anyone for the failure to commission the project. But he emphasized that it was the teamwork that was lacking. So his expertise was in getting people to collaborate and work together towards a shared goal, which he hadn't been able to do, because the railways in the UK are notoriously difficult to manage. And, you know, even Simon wasn't able to do this. But nevertheless, I admire the guy tremendously. He was one of the greatest leaders I've ever had the privilege to work for. So that's my little story. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much, Alan. And did you say Simon was involved with the London Olympics?
You're on mute.
Sorry, he was the person, the main director responsible for delivering all the infrastructure for the Olympics. So a very responsible job. You never heard anything about it before the event because everything went relatively smoothly. Things were finished on time and within budget. You know, if they hadn't, it would have been all over the newspapers and all over the media.
I'm so pleased you mentioned that because in the year 2000, Sydney had the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure of actually meeting Sebastian Coe before he became a lord, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Sebastian Coe had a lot to do with the London Olympics as well. Okay. So
Yes, he
that's why.
did. Yeah. Yeah. He was the sponsor who actually led the team that won it at that time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Alan.
Cheers.
Ryan, previous bosses that handled you, worked with you, helped you, kicked you in the
This
butt,
is
whatever they did.
a life lesson that I've carried since my mid to late 20s. I always had a habit of showing up to work at least 30 minutes before I was scheduled to be there. Always have. So I was supposed to be there at 9, I'm there at 8:30. And one morning, I felt like it gave me a chance to get in the office, get comfortable, get my coffee. And one morning I'm there early, and the boss of the company, David Heinzen, calls me into his office. He'd seen me coming early a lot of times. And he was standing in front of his window. And he called me into the office overlooking the parking lot. And he said, stand with me, Brian. So I stand next to David, and we're watching people show up to work. He says, I can tell by the way someone leaves their car and walks into the building who even has a chance at being successful today. Who even has a chance? The people who meander from their car to the office, they got no shot at it, no enthusiasm at it. The people that get out of their car disheveled, no chance at being successful. But the people who get out of their car and walk smartly towards the building, as if they want to be there, they have a chance at being successful today. And that was a lesson for me. And I started to apply that as well. The way you show up matters greatly. And I learned that from a former boss.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, that's putting a whole new dimension to the word showing up. Well done indeed. Well done indeed. Rhonda, over to you.
So, Peter, this is a great topic. Thank you so much, because I haven't thought about this in like 30 years. But I had a great boss who was an executive director of my organization in another lifetime. And he was brilliant. And he had absolutely no people skills. And he thought in a very sequential way, very mathematical, very distinctively, or, very detail oriented. Anyway, I am exactly the opposite. I am in medias res. I start in the middle and I work out, and I'm about as opposite as he could have possibly been. But we had this grudging respect and liking for each other for some reason. And one day he said something that was so hurtful to me that I almost quit that day, and I had to walk around the block to calm down. And I don't know if it was God or who was ever in charge of those things. I marched back to his office and I said, Paul, did you mean this when you said that? And he looked at me and he said, how did you get that? No, of course not. And in that moment, I learned that as good as my imagination is, sometimes I get carried away and I have to check it out with everybody. And this works with family, with boyfriends, with clients, with everybody, that, what I necessarily think was said and communicated is not so. And it was the biggest lesson of my life. And it's also helpful in my coaching, because we all have these stories in our heads, that, and if we don't check them out, we actually believe them as if they're real. So I have to thank this man who just has never had a good social interaction in his life, but he was great. We had a great relationship, and I am forever indebted to this man. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. Well done indeed. Tony.
My heart is beating a little bit. For some reason, I'm nervous about this because I'm going to take this a little different path today. I had two choices to talk about. One would have been my wife as my boss, but the other's my dog, because I've never had a boss. I've been my own boss. And so I never had a human boss, but I had a 4-pound Chihuahua that ran my life like she was a Fortune 500 CEO. She scheduled bathroom breaks. She barked orders at me, lots of them, demanded my loyalty, and was passively aggressive when she peed on the rug if we worked too late. So honestly, she was a tougher middle manager than I've ever met in my entire life. But the beauty of that was she gave me the most unconditional love. She was there for me when anybody else wasn't or couldn't have been, because I'm my own boss, which means that I've been my worst inner critic. I have high expectations. I never gave myself praise. Actually worked myself to the bone, long hours, 7 days a week, probably 16 hours days most of the time. And it was really hard to mentor, coach, and that people say it's lonely on top, because who do we go to when we're our own boss? We can't go to our secretary and tell her about our problems because, you know, she's too intimately involved in the business. And it's really hard to find mentors and people that you could rely on and delegate to when you're your own boss. And then my biggest problem was that I had addiction problems, and I was running from myself at the same time I was trying to be my own boss. So it was like conflicting interests all the time. But I learned how to do this through practice. And I know one thing for sure, and I talk about this a lot, is that my own thoughts are only what I've known. So when I join groups like this, and thank you very much for all you being here and guiding me through the last few months of my life on this beautiful Wednesday morning for me. It's like been really eye-opening, because your insight, I don't see this anywhere else. And if you're watching this replay, enjoy it and take lessons. These people are amazing. They can guide you through some of the wisdom and insight. Has just been amazing here for me. So I'm looking at you guys as my first boss in a way. And you know, I do surround myself with the right people these days. So appreciate each and every one of you. And it's been a fun ride in my life. As hard as it is, it's still rewarding to be able to kind of, let's call it, live free and do what I want when I want to do it, even though I have responsibilities. And that was the hardest lesson. So appreciate all you. Thank you. That's my boss story.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate the fact that you've never had a boss. There's other people here who've never had a boss either. But if you still want to share some stories you've heard about bosses, by all means, please do that. So, Kristine, over to you. Interesting stories about previous bosses you've had.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I forgot. Thank you. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of stories that I could tell you. I mean, I've had bosses who were really good. They were good to their staff. They ran their business in a smart way. I had a lot of respect for them. They treated us well. And I've had bosses that treated their staff like a piece of dirt. And I've worked for a boss who hid in his office all day. And I've had another experience where there were two bosses. One was really pleasant, easy to get on with, very helpful. The other one was a bit bombastic and spoke down to you in a demeaning way. And, you know, all of these experiences made me think, man, I don't want to be like that guy. I don't want to be like that person or that person. And I've been a boss myself and used that knowledge to try to be a good boss. But the story I wanted to tell you in particular was when I had a woman who'd hired me to be office manager. And she had a breakdown with her partner, who was also part of the business. And what happened was they ended up had this animosity towards each other, and I became the meat in the sandwich. And that was very disconcerting to me. So what I did was I kept a diary. I wrote everything down in the diary, because that stands up in court. So if anybody's in that kind of situation, this is good information that I'm telling you, because if it had played out differently, I could have been blamed or taken to court for various things, because there were things going on in the organisation where money was disappearing, people were stealing stock, all sorts of things were happening. And yeah, so it was a really difficult situation for me, and I felt very uncomfortable. So her ex was coming in saying to me, "You've got to do this, Kristine." I said, No, you didn't employ me. She employed me. So I said, I will take my, orders from her. I'm not listening to you. You didn't engage me. So, but he tried to put pressure on me, and the woman wasn't actually strong enough to come in. She was very emotionally upset and not dealing with things very well. And so I was having to deal with all this on my own, but I stood my ground. And they did some unethical things, and I really felt bad, because they ended up selling the business, and there were things going on in the business that caused the next guy to lose his house. And it was not a really nice experience, and yeah, I learned a lot of things from that experience, and I would never wish that on anyone.
Thank you, Kristine, very much. Actually, my last boss was in 1983. Okay. And to be quite frank with you, I resigned. He wasn't going to fire me. This was in the school teaching days, and I just wanted to get out of there. And he wasn't going to have a bar of it. So he was trying to keep me in a job, and I was trying to get out of it, which is the reverse of my situations. Anyway, thank you for sharing, Kristine. Well done indeed.
Thank you.
Glenda.
Thank you. Just like Kristine, I have held many jobs in very many different industries, and have had some great bosses, and have had some horrible, I don't even look at them as bosses, I would say as individuals. And but what I want to talk about is probably one of my first bosses I ever had. I was a young girl, and while I was going through school and going through my legal training, I wanted to earn extra money, and so I went to this retail store to get a job for a company that was placed all over Canada. And, I thought I would never have got the job. At that time in my life, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. I was a little bit overweight, and I didn't show up well. And this woman had come in and in this company, and she was a large woman, but she came in and she showed up with power. She was striking, and she led with such distinction. I was totally blown away from her. Anyway, she later on found me because I was actually leaving my job at a legal company, at a legal firm, because of a horrible boss that I had. And she brought me in and put together a job that she wanted me to train on people all over Canada. And I said, no, I don't know anything about it. And she said, trust me, I will give you the confidence, and you will find that you will have the confidence along the way. And she led me with such understanding and kindness, and put so much into me. And of course, when we might underestimate ourselves, but sometimes she said to me, I know I see the leadership in you. you don't worry because I'm not worried. And she, took on years after I was running stores. I had, crazy amount of responsibility. And if it wasn't for her to take the risk and to guide me, I would have never done what I did. So, sometimes we have to, when we don't feel that courage within ourselves and somebody else sees something in us, sometimes we need to take the jump of faith and leap into that position, because sometimes we don't know what we actually have. Thank you.
That is so true. In fact, not sometimes, many times we don't know what we actually have. Well said, Glenda. Well said. Thank you. Vangelis.
Yeah, my first employment, I was 21 years old. It was a huge corporation, 350,000 employees. And I was in that company for 14 years and I had 13 bosses. And my first boss, he said, I don't need to know what you're doing to manage you. And I'm 21 years old thinking, this doesn't sound correct, but okay. And probably about boss 5, one day says, tell me what you're doing. And I thought, oh, okay. So now this is before PowerPoint. Okay, so this is, I was doing a lot of transparencies and doing a lot of presentations. And it was a process. It was probably about 15 minutes for me to do just one transparency. And so I took him through the whole process and stuff. He says, well, how many have you done like today? I said, oh, 18, 19 slides. And so the next day, a couple of my colleagues, they said, what'd you tell Tom? I said, well, why are you seem irritated. Well, what did you tell him? How many of these slides do you do? I said, 18. How many do you do? He said, 5 or 6. And I said, now for the first time, the manager realized maybe it'd be good if he knew what his employees were doing. So, and then as I cycled through these managers, it was interesting because for like 2 or 3 years, nothing would happen in my career. And then all of a sudden I'd have a manager and I'd get a promotion, I'd get a raise. And then the next, it was almost like I was dumb for one and smart. It was not, I didn't realize how important it was for the manager to really take effort to do something, right? Well, I left that company to pursue some other things. And finally I was a consultant for Cisco. And there was a guy, Pat Finn. It was a huge project. It was right at the beginning of voice over IP. It's like Cisco bought this company. No one had done it before. And so he had hired me to develop this course. And I was just amazed by this guy because I explained what I was going to do. And he says, okay. And then I would call him and I would get ready to justify. He says, what's the need? I need this. Click. An hour later, it's on the way. And I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, and if he said he had 15 minutes, it was 15 minutes. And if you said, can I have some time? He'll say, I have time at 3 o'clock today. Come then. Unbelievable. So there's such a drastic difference. So I just learned so much from him, just how to deal with things. And I guess those other 13 managers, it helped me realize what amount of productivity they can really engage people in and how they can view their employees. Thanks.
Thank you, Vangelis. I love your expression, cycling through managers. Yeah, well done. Thank you very much indeed. Daniel.
Yes, fascinating experiences here. So, yeah, I had quite a few, bosses as well. And you see, one thing which really I took from this is that, an advice for everybody listening and, looking for the next job and position is really make sure that you spend a little time, if you can, with the person who is going to be your boss and see if it fits. Because very often, our intuition will guide us. We will know, if it's a fit or not. And if you see some, red flags, be very careful, because what you see as a red flag is going to materialize. And, an experience I'd like to share as well. I mean, it's one of the best bosses I have. You know, I was living in France. I was contacted by this headhunter in Belgium, you know, for a very improbable job. It was to go and run the European subsidiary of a Canadian company based in London. So, and, you know, at first I didn't even intend to go there to Brussels, just, but okay, I'm going there. And, you know, the headhunter says, yeah, but, you know, the guy is really nice. Okay, so I'm going there really without any expectation, zero. But okay. And then I meet this person, you know, from Quebec, very, as you say, big international experience. And I could see that there was you know, we were on a very kind of similar level. I mean, not knowledge, etc. But you know what? Communication was very easy, somebody very supportive. And right away, I felt very comfortable. And this person invited me, you know, to spend some time in Canada just before even I accepted the job. And you know what was great is that this is the first time I kind of felt empowered. Because first I didn't even know if I could do that. I had not run. I mean, it was 20 people. We had a small production unit and all that. But I said, yeah, sure, okay. Because I said, perhaps you know, can't you find anybody in the UK? No, we need somebody with international expertise, right? But you see, and this, it went all along the time I worked there. Sometimes I had some really, you know, I had, of course, challenges. And sometimes I took risks as well, you know, I mean, business risk, but he was supportive. He said, look, it's your decision, you know, I will support you, but obviously you've got to be accountable. I said, yes, I am. So you see, when you have people really with whom you can discuss things, you are very open, it flows. This is how you can, you know, give the best of yourself. And of course, I try to do the same with the people who were working under my responsibility, you know, this kind of empowering people, helping them, you know, to give the best out of themselves. And so really follow your instinct when you want to change jobs.
Well said, Daniel. Sounds like you learned a lot from your previous bosses. Well done. And you're implementing as well in your own way. Before we finish, anyone like to contribute? Tina, do you want to say anything, or Mark? All right. Thank you, everybody, for your contribution today. Lovely to see you, Glenda, after all this time. You're a very special person. I just want to say thank you to you, Rhonda, for joining us. I hope you come back and we see you again. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you put your contact details into the chat, all right? And I look forward to seeing you all same time next week, when I'll be 29,200 plus days older than I am right now. So thank you very much. Okay.
Happy birthday, Peter. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Amazing.
Yeah, happy birthday.
All the best, mate.
Happy birthday, Peter.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy 80th. Happy 80th.